heavy metal beer. Does such a thing exist? Well, I think I've found it. This is a pale ale in collaboration with Cradle of Filth, extreme black metal from Suffolk. But what's the beer going to taste like? Is it going to be as ear-shatteringly good as the band? Check out the review to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today, I'm very excited because I'm reviewing this beer that is, I've literally just found this beer. It's from my local bottle shop, Chester Beer and Wine, and it is a beer from Cradle of Filth and the Electric Bear Brewing Company, collaboration with them. So, Cradle of Filth, I must admit, extreme black metal is not really my thing. Although I've heard the name of the band, I've never really listened to them much. I had a quick listen before I did this video, and they are quite extreme black metal, very sort of gothic. But this is a nice collaboration, and you know, there are other heavy metal type of themed beers out there, you know, official ones and unofficial ones, but certainly official ones. The Trooper beer, obviously by Iron Maiden, we have reviewed that. I reviewed that when I did an Iron Maiden ranking video. But it's not a great beer, I don't think, from Robinson's Brewery. And then there's even, you know, Motorhead do a beer. There's a Kiss have got Kiss put their name on anything, you know, but they've done a beer as well. I think even Anthrax have done a beer, but they're quite difficult to get hold of. Certainly those American bands, those beers are only available there. They don't really export them over to here. I've certainly not seen them in many places, and if you can get them, they're really expensive. So it's a shame there's not more beer themed, heavy metal themed beer, because I think that's a match made in heaven, and certainly for this channel it's perfect. But this is Cradle of Filth, and it's called Pale Countess. It's an English pale ale. I'm going to read the description on the back because it's very sort of heavy metal like. Indulge, desire, darken. This delightfully wicked pale ichor, the first from poisonous metaller's Cradle of Filth. What poisonous metaller means, I'm not quite sure. Is awash with forbidden fruits, possessing the opulent aroma of tropical hurricanes, reclining midst the blood hubbub of grapefruit and mango. It is best served chilled, like the dark countess's soul. That's very theatrical, isn't it? You know, but you know, sounds good. I mean, I quite like it. It's got a description. It's even got the little, you know, if you scan this, you can go straight to their Spotify channel, basically on there. The band's Spotify. It's got Citra and Mosaic in it. Malts. It's got extra pale by wheat. Yeah, malty barley, hops, yeast, 4.5%, and it's a pale ale. It looks good. I've rattled on enough. The proof will be how it tastes. As long as it tastes better than Trooper, I don't mind. You know, this is an English pale ale, which, you know, sometimes can be a little bit different. I've had pale ales in pubs before that are almost like, you know, slightly fruity lagers, but we'll see what this one's like. So, beer in a glass. I mean, at the moment, it's quite a pale as a pale ale. You've got a very light yellow with a very slight haze on it, but you can see that there's definitely, you can see slightly through that really. It's very much like an English pale ale. We've got two fingers, a very white and fairly compacted head. So let's see what the aromas are like. Yeah, we've got like a subtleness of sort of tropical mango. Yeah, you've got the mango in there. Got anything? A bit of passion fruit even. And then there's also citrus in there as well, your lemons and limes. A little bit of orange in there. And a subtleness of grapefruit. It smells actually quite nice. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, I mean, tasting that does remind me of those sort of English pale ales that you get in. You go to a standard sort of pub that's not like craft beer, you know, sort of pub, or you know, a tap room. It's a sort of pub that will have a pale ale on, and you think, oh, I'll try that, and it's just like, it's not quite the same. This isn't bad. It's got quite a soft, it's quite soft and low levels of carbonation. It feels like something that I've tasted before. It's very citrusy. I'm not really getting much of the sort of tropical notes in the flavour itself. It's very refreshing. It's very light. It's not bad, actually. I mean, it looks pretty good. Is it a heavy metal beer? It's better than Trooper, I tell you that for one. As I say, it's got a really, the mouthfeel is quite good for a pale ale. It's nice and it's fairly soft. Carbonation's fairly low. It's very easy to drink. What did I say the percentage was? 4.5%. It's very sessionable. It's fresh. It's a great summer drink. Lemons, limes, little bit of grapefruit there, but there's not much bitterness either. It's just a very easy drinking. You know, the fruits aren't really sort of jumping out and dancing on the tongue. But, I mean, look at that artwork. It's incredible. It's a heavy metal beer. I've got to give it better ratings for that, just because it's a heavy metal beer. But, let's get some scores, shall we? Okay, the scores are in for the Cradle of Filth's Pale Countess. It's an English pale ale from the Electric Bear Company, excuse me, and also obviously in collaboration with the band Cradle of Filth. It's funny because when I saw this, I thought Cradle of Filth, they were, you know, they're from America, or they're from somewhere like where dark metal comes from, like Norway or Sweden, and I was quite surprised to find they were from Suffolk, of all places. So, are you a fan of Cradle of Filth? Is there an album I should be checking out? Let me know in the comments. I always like to give any new bands that I've not really heard their stuff a spin, see what it's like. Maybe I could become you'll see me in a few months' time with a Cradle of Filth t-shirt, eyeliner in, the hair black, who knows. But anyway, it's a great heavy metal themed beer, and it's, you know, it's one of those beers where, although it is themed and you think it's, you know, it's a bit of a sort of it's a marketing ploy, but actually the beer's not too bad, actually. So we'll go through the beer. Aroma first. Well, I mean, there's a nice sort of citrusy, you get a little bit of those sort of tropical notes like mango in there, but they're very, very sort of subtle. This is not an IPA, it's a pale ale, and I always find that pale ales tend to be more along the more towards the citrusy sort of aromas and flavours. But aroma is certainly pleasant. 12 out of 20, I'm giving that. Appearance, well, it's, you know, it's one of those sort of pale ales I don't really like when I see those. It's very, very light. It's almost like it's very yellowy, but it's got just the slightest of hazes on it, so it's not completely clear. It's not bad. We've got a nice lace in the glass. It's a solid-ish 7 out of 10. Flavour though, well, actually, I mean, for a pale ale, it's very drinkable. 4.5%. It's nice and soft. It's got low levels of carbonation. One thing you sometimes find with pale ales is that they can be a little bit too carbonated, a little fizzy. But this has got a nice soft carbonation, and that makes it very easy to drink. Flavour-wise, like the aromas, yeah, you're getting a wash of citrus flavours really in terms of flavouring. Lemons, limes. There's a little very subtle hint of grapefruit, but it's so subtle, it's not really almost there. You know, you're sort of thinking there's something else there, and I think it's just a subtleness of grapefruit. Low levels of bitterness. It's certainly pleasant to drink, and it's one of those sort of beers, a pale ale, summertime, really smashable. You could drink good few of those. You know, you're out there in maybe you're at a rock festival, maybe you're at Download Festival. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen this year. Or maybe one of those extreme ones. Is it Bloodstock? Bloodstock. This is the sort of band you'd expect to see at Bloodstock. You're at Bloodstock. This is a great beer to drink, I think. So in terms of flavour, I'm giving it a pretty solid 33 out of 40. Value for money. How much did I pay for this? £3.50? That's not bad for a pale ale, especially with a little heavy metal theme. It'll be one of those sort of cans that I want to keep in my collection because I think it's pretty cool. So I'm giving it a solid 8 for value. And then my overall experience, it feels like it's a while since I've had a pale ale that's tasting like this. We've had a lot of pale ales recently that have been almost a little bit more towards the IPA. This is definitely a pale ale. It's very traditional in terms of an English pale ale. You've got citrusy flavours. It's light, but it's light without being too carbonated. Sometimes you get it so light that it's just like a sort of fruity lager. There's no confusing that because it's very, the carbonation I think is spot on with this. So I'm giving it from overall 14. It's a nice beer. It's a sort of beer you can drink loads of. 4.5%, pretty sessionable. It's solid. So top those scores up and we're getting, it's not quite the heaviest of heavy metal, but it's still a 74. It's a recommended beer. Maybe I need a new category for extreme metal. You know, what would that be? But extreme metal is going to have to be high. But this is a 74, which is a white snake. I mean, you couldn't think of more opposites than Cradle of Filth and white snake. But I'm going to still slide this one in slow and easy. And until the next one, keep on heavy metal, black metal, rocking.